We've got some breaking news out of the NFL. The Lions are trading DeAndre Swift to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's been confirmed by our lead insider, Jonathan Jones. The news comes just 2 days after Detroit used the first-round pick on Alabama running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions swapped seventh-round selections in this year's draft with the Eagles and will also receive a fourth-round pick in 2025. Again, taking a look at the trade details, Lions having David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift on the roster, then taking a running back in the first round. Swift now on his way out, and another Bulldog on his way to Philadelphia. I'm Tommy Tran, joined by Leger Douzable and Emory Hunt. So, Leger, what's your reaction to DeAndre Swift changing places here?
My guy Emory Hunt had the news before everybody. I mean, when we came to break in the middle of the draft, he was like, I would not be surprised if the Philadelphia Eagles make a move for DeAndre Swift. And literally, 30 minutes later, Tommy, it happens. I mean, it just goes hand in hand on what Howie Roseman does, right? This is the Philadelphia Bulldogs. He saw another Bulldog that was out there via trade and made a trade for him. And I actually like this trade. I wanted to see if Kenneth Gainwell could maybe be the lead back. They brought in a sneaky good free agent in Rashad Penny. His thing has always been, Tommy, can he stay healthy, right? But, you know, with DeAndre Swift, you got a guy that can play all three downs. He's he's really good out of the backfield, downhill runner. So he adds to a running back room with Boston Scott as well, where you have a deep rotation with the Philadelphia Eagles. We saw it last year, right? Miles Sanders was the lead back in that offense, but in the playoffs, Kenneth Gainwell kind of getting some traction. He started becoming the lead back in the playoffs. So they rotate a lot of guys, and I think DeAndre Swift will add to that deep backfield.
Emory, what do you think?
Yeah, you talk about, what Howie Roseman's done. He has gotten more explosive on offense in the backfield. Think about it. Rashad Penny, known for his breakaway speed. We talk about DeAndre Swift, known for his elusiveness and also breakaway speed. And Gainwell has the best vision and the best feel for the run game, in my opinion. So when you combine all three guys, running sidecar with a Jalen Hurts who will open up the run game based off his athleticism, this is going to be an explosive offense, even more explosive than what we saw last year. And you just got to love that we're talking about America's position, right? The running back position. It's been running back a lot of palooza the whole couple of days here, talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, and now we're talking about DeAndre Swift. It makes so much sense that he's going to give them a lot of what they got from Shady McCoy, because he's the most elusive out of the three backs that they're bringing in.
Emory, I'll throw it right back at you again. So when someone watches DeAndre Swift run and play the running back position, how do you best describe his game?
He is so fluid, man. It's like listening to jazz music. It's just the perfect harmony, perfect melody, perfect combination of different notes and switches, and he's able to do those things out there in the run game. I remember when he was back at Georgia, and this was when they were playing in a title game. I'm like, man, their third back is the best one out of Sony Michel and out of Nick Chubb. And also, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but thinking like, hey, this guy could play in the league right now. That's how fluid, that's how dynamic, how explosive he is. His whole thing is being healthy. He's always been nicked up a little bit in Detroit, but as far as the skill set, catching the ball in the backfield, he can do that. Running the football in between the tackles, showing that he can get outside and make a guy miss. This is what you want from the position. He provides them a guy that can start off the game as a foundational piece, and now when you're rotating these guys in, you don't lose that explosiveness or that ability to hit the big play from the ground.
Yeah. Go ahead, Thomas.
No, go ahead, Nisha.
Yeah, this guy has some juice. We talked about Emory, his ability to come out of the backfield and catch the ball, and he's silky smooth in the open field. I just like the combination of backs. And to your point, right, just like Rashad Penny, he's had some issues staying healthy. Now that you have a complement of backs, if you think you're Howie Roseman, you're like, we want to make sure we have enough pieces just in case some guys get dinged up. Now they have four backs that they really, truly trust in Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, DeAndre Swift, and Rashad Penny. Now, if somebody does go down, they have more than enough comparable pieces in the backfield where there won't be much drop-off. So this made a lot of sense, and they were able to get him just for a 2025 fourth-round pick and a pick swap, I believe, in the seventh round. Made a lot of sense for Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles.
So we're talking about Howie Roseman. On the other side, Brad Holmes. What do you think about the plan in Detroit, Leger?
I think going forward, you paid a lot of money to Montgomery this offseason. So I think a lot of people questioned when they took Jahmyr Gibbs that early when you still had Swift on the roster, but subsequently they end up trading him to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I believe Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that will be their third down back. I would not be surprised if David Montgomery starts off as the back for first and second down. He has some third down ability too as far as being able to protect, catch the ball in the backfield. Also, don't be surprised, Jameson Williams is suspended for the first 6 games. They put Gibbs in that slot sometimes on third down and maybe have Montgomery out there too. So I think it's going to be a two-headed monster. I think Montgomery starts off as the running back, and then Gibbs they'll sprinkle in as some receiver and then also on third down.
Emory, you agree with that?
Listen, I may see it in reverse because I'm more of a fan of Gibbs and how he runs than Montgomery, but I understand why you went that way, Leger, because you brought up a great point. I forgot Jameson Williams was going to be suspended for the first 6 games, so that kind of makes sense. And we are old enough to where I'm going to use this reference to where you guys can understand it. Think about how the Browns used Eric Metcalf, right? When he first got to the Browns, someone that did a little bit of damage in the backfield, someone that did a little bit of damage in the slot. Eventually, he grew into a receiver, but this was someone that was a tailback first, was explosively dynamic, was probably the one that invented those arrow routes or how he used to run them out there in Cleveland with Kozar. So I can see, to Leger's point, them utilizing him in a multitude of ways, which is why his value was as high as it was going that high in the first round.
A fresh start for DeAndre Swift. When he walks into his new locker room, he's going to see a lot of familiar faces. Our thanks to Emory Hunt and Leger Douzable. DeAndre Swift at his peak, still one of the best running backs in football. Jamal Williams took a lot of the touchdowns last year. Fantasy managers weren't happy with that, but taking a look at 1,500 and 150 the last 3 seasons, it's a short list that includes DeAndre Swift.